Welcome to the April 9th, 2023 meeting, 2024 meeting of the Grafton, Mass. Accessibility Advisory Commission. I'm Roger Trahan, and I call this meeting to order. As a preliminary matter, please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. So when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Alexis Henry.
Aye.
Bob Berger.
Aye.
Laura, oh, that's not all right. I was recycling one from last year. Christy Proctor.
Here.
Paul Letourneau.
Here.
Okay, and Roger Trahan here. And there are no anticipated speakers other than us on the agenda. And as far as introduction to remote meeting guidelines and everything like that, I think we'll just, I don't see any non-members here. So I think we all know the rules, even though others may think we have to read them word for word. So moving on to the first item on the agenda, announcements. Rob Paulsonelli tendered his resignation immediately from the commission, citing, and he had written a letter to the select board chair, Mr. Offen, citing health concerns. So I just have to personally thank Rob for his amazing work on the committee. I don't know if anyone else wants to weigh in.
Yeah, totally agree. So it's a big loss, and I just feel terrible for him and his family. So
Yeah,
sad what they're going through.
I loved his organizational skills, which I lack completely.
So I will entertain a motion to for whoever under the reorganization under the next agenda item is chair to write a letter of thanks to Mr. Paulsonelli on behalf of the commission.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
And, all right. Motion made by Mr. Berger, seconded by Mr. Letourneau. Any discussion on the motion?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor by roll call. Mr. Berger.
Berger, aye.
All right. Christy.
Aye.
Alexis.
Aye.
Paul.
Aye.
Trahan, I declare the motion carried 5-0. So reorganization of the Accessibility Advisory Commission. So I had received, and you were on, you were a recipient, Christy, on Rob's email from earlier this afternoon, whereby he mentioned that Catherine Dupuy was okay with retaining her role as vice chair. And so, so the reorganization really is for chair. I don't know if, I guess the reorganization doesn't necessarily in this instance need to include a vote on all three roles, does it? It's just to before I accept a motion, I will toss out the thought of any willing volunteers stepping forward.
Willing.
We're all like stepping back figuratively
It's-
from the screen.
The quiet is very loud.
And don't all answer at once, but I will also note that although typically we see annual reorganizations of a committee can occur at any time, depending on the need. And so whatever commitment is made here tonight is something that is never going to be written in stone. It's up to the commission to really decide these things.
So, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Roger, sorry.
Roger.
And I take it that you're too busy with the library to take on this additional responsibility.
Yeah, I'm currently chair of the Board of Library Trustees, and everything we're going through right now, even if I weren't chair, really precludes me to jump back in as chair of our commission here.
So somebody has to step up to the plate.
And I'm not going to point anyone out.
I see a hand.
All right, Alexis.
And it really makes the most sense because we have a great secretary, and that secretary can't move from that chair because then we'd lose a
As
great
always,
secretary.
already said she's too busy.
Right.
And the other thing I'll note is that and we can discuss it before I entertain a motion. If we vote, if a motion is made and we vote you, Alexis, as chair, I'm totally okay with running the remainder of this meeting and have that occur at the adjournment of this meeting.
Okay, and as long as I can have some offline coaching by
Yeah,
you,
I'll totally give you all the pointers and bullet points and such in a concise email, and we
And
can talk
I
about
need a
that.
little pamphlet on Robert's Rules of Order.
Yeah, we don't
Uh,
follow them.
It's called one sentence consensus.
And Roger, who is our vice chair?
Catherine,
Catherine, right?
Okay,
yeah.
so I think we're in good shape.
All right.
I think so.
All right, I will entertain a motion then to fill the vacancy of chair.
Go ahead, Paul.
I nominate Alexis Henry to take on the burden of chair for our
The
committee.
august role.
All right, and with the understanding that it will occur upon adjournment of tonight's meeting.
Yes,
Okay, do I have a second?
Bob Berger seconds.
Okay, motion made and seconded by roll call. Bob Berger,
Bob Berger, aye.
Christy Proctor,
Christy Proctor, aye.
Paul Letourneau,
aye.
Alexis Henry,
Aye.
Trahan, I declare the motion carried 5-0. Congratulations, Alexis.
Thank you,
Yes.
Alexis.
All right.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Any other announcements?
Big shoes to fill,
Yes.
both
yeah.
Rob's and yours, Roger.
Yeah.
So, I'm
Well,
glad you
we're a good team. We're
Yeah,
a good team. We'll make do. And then as far as any other announcements, I guess I will. It's not really an announcement as it's an additional talking point regarding this discussion is that at some point in the near future, the select board will advertise a vacancy, and so that doesn't preclude us from maybe tapping people on the shoulder that we may feel
mhm,
would be qualified and would be a good fit. So
right.
yeah.
So we can do our own sort of,
yeah, our own
recruiting or
offline
suggest-
recruiting, and if that turns out to create, if our own recruiting efforts create more applicants that have to sort of duke it out, I use that term loosely, then so be it. I think it's good when multiple people put forth their efforts in trying to get on boards and committees. And so all right, so external correspondence, I'm not aware of any.
mhm.
All right, so meeting minutes, March 12th of 24. Do I have a motion to accept the draft minutes of our meeting of March 12th of 2024?
So moved.
All right.
Second,
All right, motion made and seconded. Do I have any discussion on the motion? Okay, I have I highlighted just a few highlighted areas that okay, so on
Roger, excuse
oh,
me,
the number, these are numbered all
Roger,
kind of, yes.
could you allow me to share the screen? Because I did do some cleanup
Oh,
this afternoon, so some of this
okay.
might
Okay, yeah,
moved.
hold on a second.
Because I saw the same thing I think you did when I went to
Yeah,
because I took them from an email from Rob. I took them back and updated them to be draft meeting
so let me
minutes.
ask you, that's not that, hold on a second. First of all, before I do that, I just want to just back up a second, and just for the sake of caution, make someone co-host. So
Okay.
I'll,
If you make me co-host, I know, yeah.
all right, so all right, so where are you? It says make host, but that means co-host, correct?
No,
Yeah, so
No.
you're
It turns
going
off
to,
your
you're
host.
actually, yeah, you're actually gonna highlight my name, go to the three dots and
Right.
make co-host or host. You can do one or the other.
Well, but that doesn't kick me out as host, does it?
Nope, nope.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Okay,
Okay,
everybody,
and then
thanks for your
the
patience.
other thing is, so share screen. Oh, so because you're host, you can just automatically
Yeah.
share it now, correct?
Hmm.
Okay. Um,
Okay,
so yeah, we were going off of a so the announcements is okay. So you started announcements as one, all right,
mm-hmm.
and so then you simply change everything.
Yeah, some of this doesn't play well. There we go.
So are we sure that everything is renumbered correctly?
It should be.
So like, all right, so meeting minutes would be, so external correspondence is 2, meeting minutes is 3,
Mm-hmm,
big truck day is 4,
mm-hmm.
and then instead of 15, 16, 17, it goes 5, 6, and then old business is 7.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mhm.
And then new business is 8. Next meeting is 9, and then action. Okay, so there is no 10 because the action was inadvertently numbered. So the last item is number 9, next meeting, correct?
correct.
Okay, good. Okay. So I'm going to then just make a comment on item number 1B about State Bill H 4396.
Okay,
And the last sentence says this act is co-sponsored by Mike Moore, our Grafton representative. I would change that to our Grafton state senator
right.
or our state senator. Well, you can keep Grafton in there, but our Grafton state senator versus representative, which is a different title. And I don't know if that's capital state senator. And then even though, all right, so moving forward to number 4, big truck day. The very first line, even though later we know that Recreation Department Director, that's Adam Lapointe's title, it can't hurt to state before, Grafton Recreation Department Director.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, and then lastly, actually, no, not lastly, under 7F, the old business, the email address change. It may be beneficial that we clarify further. The old address disability is now forwarding emails to our new address accessibility, about maybe stating what those exact email addresses are, disability commission at grafton-ma.gov versus accessibility at grafton-ma.gov. Is that overkill?
No, I think it's fine.
No, it's accessibility at Grafton-A. Yeah, in other words, it doesn't use the word commission. Yeah.
Okay, that's maybe why it's not in.
All right. And then lastly, so there were 3 times under further under 7F, but on the following page, I think we would probably best maybe change the word to test account versus dummy account.
Okay,
Someone might call us on that. And I think it would be best if we kind of avoid that word in
Okay.
this context of our commission's work.
Mm.
So the very first line, a test account to monitor. And then the last line, the test account would be a Gmail account. So within that 4-line segment, that word test would be changed from the D word. But also there's a third spot on a paragraph. Christy Proctor will set up
Yep, got that already.
the test. Okay, so there were 3 instances where
Yes.
I caught that recommended word change. So
Got
is
it.
everyone okay with that?
Yes,
Yeah, and those are
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
only items that I caught. So any further discussion on the motion to approve the meeting minutes with the edits discussed here? All right, all those in favor by roll call, Bob Berger,
Bob Burger, aye.
Alexis Henry,
Aye.
Christy Proctor,
Aye.
Paul Letourneau,
aye.
Roger Trahan, I declare the motion carried unanimously 5-0. All right, Big Truck Day, that is Saturday. Is that a Saturday or Sunday, June 22nd?
Saturday, I believe.
Okay. So
Right.
I will add that I did speak with Mike Kennedy, who's as long as he's given enough reminders, he was more than willing to bring in his car, which is modified, and basically share these modifications with those in attendance. I overlooked following up on the library cutout. Now, what cutout was that was used at the library? I should know this, right?
I thought it was
Um,
Barbie.
Was it a Barbie cutout?
Yeah, it was the Barbie mobile, I think. Wasn't that what we were talking about?
No, I think that was separate. What was the cardboard cutout at the library? I'm chair of the trustees. I should know this, right?
I know William had his picture in it.
So the question, but there was a question though, right? All right, so we talked about, actually, no, maybe we didn't talk about, but I think it was online that someone had,
No, we
or,
talked about it last time.
no,
We
no,
met
no,
together.
we did. I'm talking about the
The cutout. It was
but
the Barbie.
but the feature of the cutout where someone had to step into it
Yeah.
versus roll into it, or someone with a walker, that there was a lip. Am I correct that that cutout has a lip that it would be considered inaccessible?
Oh, I don't think we had that conversation.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
don't
so
remember that.
someone either mentioned it to me in an email, or I saw it on social media that the cutout that someone would not, it was not as accessible as it needed to be. And
Okay.
I don't know if that, because it was cardboard, whether that lip created some stability to the structure or not, but certainly we would need to be mindful that those who wish to go into it could go into it. And what I had read is that there was a handful of people that could not navigate the into part of that structure, and therefore they were kind of, left out, literally left out, that their picture was taken in front of the structure versus
Has anybody,
inside the.
have you seen it, Roger? Has anybody seen the thing we're talking about?
Yeah, and I would have to go online and actually dig, and I think it may be
Is it
beyond.
still at the library?
See, I don't know. Um,
Hmm.
and I'm just looking under.
I mean, it's easy for me to walk up to the library.
I
and,
know, right?
You know,
I know, and it's
check it
easy
out.
enough for me to just ask.
Yeah. Well, I just, it's hard for me to visualize exactly what it is we're talking
all right,
about
I'll,
and
I'll,
who
I'll
owns
follow,
it and
I'll follow up on that.
yeah, maybe if it's not accessible, is it something we could adapt to, like, how permanent a thing is it? Is it a,
I don't know. I thought it was pretty sizable. But
Yeah.
I'll check up on that. And so um I guess Christie and others would have other big truck updates regarding
I've known, I
pause.
haven't heard from Pause for People, so I
Okay.
haven't heard anything, but I do know that some of the dogs were at the Shrewsbury autism awareness event on Sunday for their big truck day.
Okay.
So I was happy to see them there. I talked to one of the handlers, so um hopefully they'll come to ours. But again, it's I know it's 2 months away now, but they'll hopefully start trickling in and we'll hear about it.
Okay. Awesome. Um and I
And I've sent
guess
2 emails total. So
awesome.
if I send one once a month, it should be sufficing. So keep it
So
forward.
so I guess revisiting, thank you for that follow-up. I guess revisiting the minutes that we just passed, I'm just looking to see whether. Oh, so the Easter seals had to do with locating a modified vehicle, but that's taken care of. Okay.
right? And I was gonna reach out to a colleague of mine, which I did, and, we've just been sort of emailing. Haven't been able to really connect yet,
Mhm.
but, it sounds like we've got at least one, right,
Right.
Roger?
Yes. Yep. And so, and then is it the first hour that's sensory friendly? Okay. All right. So that is Saturday, June 22nd. Okay. Um, Mass Office on Disability ADA Improvement Grant. Looking back at the draft minutes, which actually speak to what is the deadline of that MOD grant?
It's in the minutes, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. It looks like the period is May 1st to June 14th at five
Okay.
PM, so that would be the deadline. So it's not open yet, but
Okay.
open soon.
All right. And yes, and so the town will resubmit the grant application. It's my understanding that once you submit it, I don't know if you can reopen the submission, meaning that William Blake, on behalf of the town or whoever submits that on behalf of the town, that they would want that endorsement letter from us now to be included in their like one size fits all submission. It's like a packet that they would submit
Mhm.
all at once. So we're going to, so the resubmission, what were the items? Was it the municipal center counters or was it, okay,
It was, I think it was 4 or 5 because it's like 50 something $1,000 a
Okay.
piece.
okay. So did we think of anything else? In other words, MOD said that the fact that a town may submit more than one item doesn't mean that they necessarily compete with each other. If one gets it, that it necessarily excludes the other. They had told me that in the past that there have been towns that have gotten 2 or 3 in one grant cycle coming from different entities. So if we can think of anything else that we want to sort of add to that, certainly there would be some time, a couple of months to do so. So, and that would just cause me the reminder to myself and the rest of the commission to just peruse the ADA self-eval and transition plan once again, but also be willing to tackle the school one as well to really I can't imagine that either as an appropriation to town meeting or as a grant application either to MOD or another entity that the school district wouldn't want our endorsement for school district improvements. Their self-eval did not put a price tag on anything, anticipating that that would soon be outdated, but I'm not going to share the figure. It's an astronomical figure when you add it all up, but it may be worthwhile for us to become familiar with that document too. So,
Do we know
anyone?
that the school committee is, or the school department is planning to submit?
I don't know. I believe they are aware of it. I think Dr. Cummings, the superintendent, is aware, but that certainly can be a reminder point from us. Okay.
Are they all submitted by the town administrator's office, or would the school commission, school
No,
committee do
no.
their own, or the school department do their own?
Yeah, I think Dr. Cummings had done his own in the past on behalf of the school district.
The school district, okay.
Yeah. And that we had submitted a letter of endorsement directly to him. And I think that pertained to like the South Grafton Elementary School playground was one example that I can recall 2 or 3 years ago. And has anyone been down there? Because that was actually funded, but it was also funded, I think, by CPA funds too, if I'm not mistaken. Has anyone been to South Grafton Elementary playground? I'm gonna have to check that out. So any further discussion on the MOD ADA improvement grant? All right. ADA
So just
agreements. Oh, I'm
we
sorry.
need
What was
to
that, Alex?
resubmit a letter. Do we have the letter that went with the first? Or the most recent submission?
Yes, I'm sure I have the Word document.
Okay.
Get Word doc to Alexis. All right.
So will that have to be changed or altered?
Well, I think that we don't necessarily need to list the dollar amount, but we can, it may be altered if it's, I mean, we can keep it generic, you know, and say that we endorse repairs or modifications to the numerous self-service or service counters in the municipal center. And then, and then leave it at that.
Right, I mean, it's the same proposal, right?
Right, yeah.
That we're talking about, so.
Right.
I don't
Okay,
recall what
but-
the last letter said, but I think, we would say, we support this grant, this proposal and the reasons why this is an important
Yeah.
architectural accessibility within
Right.
town buildings,
Okay.
something like
Roger.
that, right?
Was it
Yes.
turned back? Did we apply already once
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it was not accepted?
right.
Well, it just didn't get it. I mean, there
Wasn't
were 100
funded.
it wasn't funded. It was there were 140 other, competing.
Okay. So maybe we need to spice it up a little. I don't know.
Doesn't work.
Doesn't it-
We don't get we don't get any feedback on these, do we? Like why it was not funded?
Okay, so I think that one of the important talking points that I think we've put in all of our endorsement letters is one of the things that they look at is like community impact. How many people will benefit from this? And I think the talking point was really stating how many people use the municipal center and how many people would benefit from it versus it being something that doesn't get much use. But they were dealing with, MOD was dealing with a $10 million to play with a few years ago. And I don't know if that's expiring this year. They decided to take that 10 million and do $2 million each of 5 years. And that seemed to be around 4 years ago. So I'm wondering if, unless they've gotten a new set of funds, this may be the last of those 5 years.
Yeah.
The
I know
money's
there's
drying
a-
up.
There's a state, I mean, we're facing a shortfall, right, in the state? I'm pretty sure, yeah. I mean, we've heard like with some of the state agencies would like claw back funds that have not been appropriated, not been committed, so,
Right.
I wonder if they have less this year or this is the last year
Yeah.
at this level.
It
Yeah.
may be something for you to look into, Madam Chair, to be.
Yeah,
So,
no, we have the link, right? We have the link to the, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna at least, I'll look to
and I'm
see.
I'm wondering though, whether that is something that it makes sense that Alexis, since you mentioned that whole, those monies being kind of cleaned up, it seems kind of conspicuous that MOD is fast forwarding this. Usually the deadline's October, so they're giving a deadline of June 14th, and I wouldn't be surprised if they then made a decision, they fast-tracked the decision before the end of the fiscal
Yeah,
year
before the end of the fiscal
to
year.
commit those monies, to commit those monies.
Yeah.
That seems to, to fall in place with what you're
Mhm.
saying. All right, any other discussion on the ADA improvement grant?
Yes,
Right.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Berger.
So this year on our town warrant, I put $25,000 in for engineering to make our bathrooms in town hall handicap accessible.
Oh, awesome.
So if we get that 25,000, that means next fiscal year, that's what we're gonna be going for if the grant's still alive.
Right.
Mhm.
We're trying to whittle our way down that list that came out. We worked
Right.
on door hardware, we worked on handicap ramps. We worked on accessible doors coming into the building. I think we've hit a lot of this low hanging fruit. And
Mhm.
now these are the big ticket items that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So let me ask you this. As far as Capital Improvement Planning Committee, CIPC, and the annual capital plan that gets put before Maytown meeting, has this come up or has this been on the radar as a sort of committed funding source that there's so many things that get put on the capital plan? A lot of them are typically like fire truck stuff, uh, HVAC, massive HVAC repairs to various old schools. It seems to be sort of repeating punch list. And so has this come before capital planning or?
No, this is the first for the bathrooms.
Okay. All right.
And with our new software we have, all we have to do is just check a button and it carries over to the next year if it didn't get funded. So
Okay.
now we're not losing it in the cloud or in a
Right.
file somewhere. So we're
Okay.
doing a better job tracking on our wants and needs. They
Mhm.
might not get fulfilled, but at least we still have it on the list and it didn't drop off.
Okay. All right. And it may be worthwhile that we identify as many items as possible that are not necessarily major expenses, that we can knock off some many smaller items that still remain from the self-eval, at least on the municipal side. So, all right, then we'll cross our fingers. So the town meeting warrant, is it a separate warrant article?
Yes,
And it's submitted, who's a petitioner?
probably the town
The town.
administrator.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well,
And you know what? I'm not gonna answer that. Is it a separate article? Because I did not preview all the articles. It might be buried within another article.
okay. And I think too is that what bodes well if it's buried in another article is that lately we've been fast forwarding a lot of town meetings and these consent agendas. And so that don't get a lot of there's not a lot of traction regarding opposition. So
Yep.
All right. Are we ready to move on to the ADA grievance procedure? And I guess Christy, do you have a follow-up from your discussion with William Blake?
No, because I did not have a discussion with William Blake, and that's on
Okay.
me. I apologize. But I
Okay.
did do some due diligence and look at different ADA grievance procedures. And I believe what I'll be approaching William to talk about is how to make ours more accessible and really have it out there and not buried. So
Okay.
I'll try to reach out to him. I know I'll reach out to him before the next meeting, but I apologize.
No, that's okay. Let me ask you this, as I look at, again, the draft minutes that we approved tonight from our last meeting, was there a vote? Rob suggested that Christie take up this chain clerk agreement.
Yes.
Did we take a vote, or was it just by consensus or whatever that you would draft some type of email or?
I'll go back and look at the minutes.
Actually,
I've got-
no, at the last paragraph, Mr. Berger,
I'm supposed to gather information from all of you and get some
Right.
ideas and create a
Right.
draft.
right, yes, okay, so, yeah, so with our input, you would create a draft email to the
Mhm.
assistant town administrator to begin the process. So we also need to be careful about the open meeting law and the term polling, that a quorum doesn't provide even individual input outside of a posted meeting. So does anyone have any comments, or is everyone up to speed with the grievance procedure? If not, I guess it would be a reminder for all of us to reread the current grievance procedure, and then at our next meeting, come prepared with specific comments.
It's pretty standard. I mean, everyone kind of has the same timelines and the
Mhm.
same policies and definitions. Example, what is a calendar day? I don't think we have any contention with that. I think it's just in terms of really having a tone at the beginning of, if someone needs an accommodation even to fill this out, we'll be happy to help, and we'll be presenting this. There'll be some opportunities to be presenting the information in accessible format. So if someone really needs assistance with that, will be helpful in that manner.
Okay. So you would still want input.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I'll create that. And again, apologies.
all right. No, that's okay. All right, any further discussion on the grievance procedure?
So
Okay.
Alexis, I'll draft something and send it to you for the meeting packet.
Thank you.
So
Christine.
Okay, old business, Grafton Common, including exterior parking pavement. It says no update, so I guess that was just a placeholder, so it would remain on our punch list.
I haven't seen anything happening up there.
It was in that one spot, right? Where
Mhm.
the gas line cap stuck up, where there was like a partial collapse. So is that space still open, or has that been like either roped off or a cone, and now there's another space? Or was that the
I
only
don't think it's roped
accessible space?
off. I didn't know. I mean, I was up there earlier today. I didn't notice
Alright.
that.
Okay,
But I mean, I can't say for sure, but I walked through the common earlier today. I didn't notice.
so who's taking over that task of following up? Had Rob been discussing that with either the assistant town administrator or town administrator? Or was that you, Bob?
No, it wasn't me, but you know what? Let me take it. I'll take a drive by there.
Okay,
And I will report back at the next meeting, and I'll try to have a conversation with the highway superintendent.
okay, awesome, thank you.
I better write that down.
All right. All right, and 7B, interpreters cart for May 13th town meeting, Mr. Berger.
We have two, so we're on. I gave an email to my town. I don't think I gave it to Evan. I gave it to William. I'm asking to get it on the webpage and to make an announcement at their next Board of Selectmen's meeting.
Okay, awesome.
We also had, the sports ceremony, and I had two interpreters for the sports ceremony at the middle school. And
Oh, awesome.
it was awesome.
That
I
is
was in the
great.
audience. I stayed, to see the interpreters, and I gotta tell you, I grabbed like every third word, so I can't really report back what they said.
All right.
You got a lot of studying to do still.
I know I
I know.
did, but I got every third word, so I was pretty
Oh,
happy
yeah.
with that.
That's
Oh,
good.
that's good. I took an ASL course back in college one semester, and it was interesting. It was an immersion type of situation. It was pretty neat how much you pick up, but then again, it's amazing how much you lose too if you don't practice.
I've got
Um,
over a year into schooling right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Congrats.
thank you.
So podium accessibility. So confirm response to Mr. Wood. That would have been Justin Wood.
Yeah,
Who
that would
had
me.
that?
That was me. I had
Oh,
a
okay.
conversation with Justin.
Okay.
I don't think we emailed him because we haven't created that policy yet.
Right.
But I explained to him that we have an accessible podium by the presenters table. And people that want to stand can go to the actual podium, depending on
Right.
if they feel more comfortable sitting or more comfortable standing. So we have
Right.
it covered in both of our studios, conference room A and conference room F. He
Right.
understood and he thanked me for getting back to him. And I
Okay,
explained
awesome.
to him why it took so long, because we really don't have a procedure in place right now for emailing responses back or replying to.
Okay.
And he understood.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you for that follow-up.
You're welcome.
And the banner for our web page, who was following up on that? Who was tasked with that and to whom?
I don't know that was anybody, but I'm willing to take that on if, who
Okay.
would I follow up with? With
William.
William?
Yeah, he's the webmaster.
Okay.
Okay. And so email address change and responding from shared account. So it says completed. So,
But it's not.
but it's not because we
No.
don't have a policy, right? Do we need a
I-
policy or?
Yeah, what I talked to William. There is no real boilerplate out there.
Okay.
So I'm going to grab a policy they have, and I'm going to use it as a boilerplate. And I'm going to bring it back to this committee, and we'll have a discussion on what the policy should be. And it
Okay.
doesn't have to go through any board, any selectmen. It stays with us, because that was the conversation on if we're creating this policy, does it have to be approved by the select board?
No.
And William's answer was no, this is just a policy that the board, this committee is making.
Right.
Mhm.
So I will
Yep.
come back with the boilerplate, and
Right.
then we should leave some time so we could actually figure out what the verbiage should be.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So you'll come back with one. All right.
Yep.
Back with language. All right. All right. So any other old business items? Well, I guess I will mention that per our 3/12/24 meeting, that we were going to include a discussion about National Night Out, that it was never too early, that
Mm.
these dates creep up on us. So whatever the first date, the first Tuesday in August, is that the first? What is the first Tuesday in August? The National Night Out.
The 6th.
Oh, is it? Okay. I thought last year was such a resounding success and so much damn fun. It was, the community feedback was just really, really good. And I actually look forward to that again, whatever we can put forth. So refresh my memory. What did we discuss at last meeting other than to bring it up at this meeting?
Nothing.
I don't
Okay.
think yeah.
You want to kick the can down the road again? No, We kind of, I mean, pause worked well. The accessible Barbie house worked well. There were some handouts of pamphlets with the crayons. That wasn't huge, but
Mhm.
people took those with them. That seemed to get some traction. I think we had a good location. Yeah, Christy.
So in my email, I did suggest and hint at that we would also like to secure them for the National Night Out again as well. So I kind of killed two birds with one stone, so to speak, and did put that in their ear for the pause people.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that went over so well. Who doesn't like petting a dog, right? I mean,
Some people, but
some people, right? But only a handful. So does anyone else have any other old business items that either we may have overlooked that were on our punch list or any other things, Christy?
Well, I think I had shared the idea a few, maybe 2 months ago, where you take a large board and do nails all the way around, and each nail represents a part of your disability or ethnicity or community, whether it's a neurodiverse community or a deaf community. But you start connecting what you are, like, and you develop at the end a really cool mosaic of disability identities. So
Mhm.
I think that would be a real cool
would be a
thing
fun
to do, because
activity.
you're not asking people to out themselves or label themselves. You just have them tie on one of the ends of the nail, and then they draw it here, and it zigzags back and around. I mean, it could be something they're interested. It doesn't have to just be their disability, but I think I think hands-on activities are really the key in having a successful evening, so that
Mhm.
people just aren't walking by. We're actually engaging with them.
Right, right. And I think we had a few unique items that weren't like that provided just different types of interaction, that it wasn't just one thing. I mean, between the pause and the Barbie house and the coloring sheets, there seemed to be different things for different folks. Any other old business items? Any new items that you can think of?
I don't know, actually. I have two things that I've
Yeah, please.
wanted to mention, and maybe one is old business, but
Okay.
I completed the conflict of interest training in March.
Yes.
'Cause we did get an email about that, and I went in and did it, and I got a certificate, and like, what am I, do I need to submit this to someone?
Yeah, the town clerk, the town clerk,
Town clerk,
and
okay.
all of us
And
do. I am overdue, so
so
I'm
I
going
just,
to out
it's,
myself on
it's
that.
sort of old business and new business, a reminder
Yeah,
to people if they haven't done it.
yeah.
It's definitely takes a while to get through it.
It took me about an hour. I think there was
Yeah,
yeah, it wasn't short. It was about 90 or 100 questions.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
a
It's different.
significant document. I'm going to out myself as needing to do that. But thank you for bringing that up, Alexis.
Yeah.
Everyone is required to do that. So is it
And the
every other
certificate
year?
is good for a couple of years,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think you have to do it, like if you're newly
I have
appointed, you
mine.
have to do it within 30 or 60 days, and then every 2 years
Every 2
thereafter.
years, because I think I did it initially,
Yeah,
but I did it again, so.
right.
And then the other thing is, April is National Autism Acceptance Month.
Okay,
And that's the kind of thing that I think would be nice on our banner for our page.
okay.
So I just thought
And
I'd
thank
raise
you
that.
for,
And there are some, there are some links to information. I opened up, let me just take a look at what I have here. It's,
so has
the CDC has an autism acceptance toolkit.
oh, cool.
Yeah, I can send this link.
That would be great. And I'll mention that the discussions that we had, and we kind of went back and forth a couple of years ago about the whole who was the arbiter of the symbol, the puzzle piece versus the gold rainbow, and some people even found the puzzle piece to be offensive, that it was somehow a missing piece and that was offensive to some. So are we avoiding using those symbols, or
Oh, definitely. And
Yeah.
we're trying not to make the blue for autism. The adults with autism really resent the infantilizing of the movement. It's really not about awareness anymore. It's about acceptance.
Exactly.
And yeah, and we really have to see neurodiversity and as a really strength instead of you know, keeping it in a box. I mean, it's just such a wide range and spectrum of disability behavior and identity now. It's really all encompassing.
Right. And I think first of all, it's not children, you know. It's the full age range. And I think people are adopting the identity of being autistic as
Mhm.
opposed to, you know, first forever, you know, we used person first language, you know, a person with. Uh, but I think there's from my understanding is there's a strong movement around people adopting being being autistic as an identity, similar perhaps to the deaf culture.
I have a nephew whose mother calls him autistic in the spectrum of autism. Now, I don't know if that's a common phrase. I have two nephews actually who are autistic. And so I don't know what the proper term is for them, except she says he's in the autism spectrum.
Well, the official diagnosis is autism spectrum disorder. That's
Yes.
where you know, but it is a broad spectrum,
Yes, it is.
very broad.
Yeah.
So,
right? So
So what is
So-
the
so what do
accepted?
we put? But do we put? I interrupted you, Paul. What was that?
That's okay. I'm just wondering what the accepted termination a term is. You don't want to say something that is offensive, and having not known if it's offensive.
it's probably very individual, you
I
know.
was gonna say it all depends because some people want to be called one way and other people are really
Right.
happy with the neurodiversity.
Right.
Right. Some people still identify as having Asperger's, although that's, you know, that's not as, you know, as an official
All right.
diagnosis that, so I understand that's not as common. Yeah. You know, some people, diversity, atypical. I mean, people use a lot of different words to describe themselves. So I think there's probably not one right one, and it's more how the person themselves wants to talk about it or identify, or, you know, you might say to your nephew, how, you know, if do they have an awareness of it? Are they, you know, do they self-describe? And then what's the term, you know, if they're someone who self-identifies, then what terminology do they prefer?
Do they apply to themselves?
What do they say to that though? Yeah, about
Right.
themselves. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's you know, I think our language around disability and disablement continues to evolve, you know, so what was accepted terminology.
But it's also segmented.
Yeah, what do you mean?
As we said, some people accept a term that applies to them as a definition of them, and some within that same spectrum don't like that. So
Right.
Great.
so it's difficult.
Oh, it is, Paul, but
Mhm.
I'm glad you have a sensitivity to it. I really do.
Mhm. I think it's always best to ask people what they want. You know, how they,
Sometimes a person like of that ilk might even get offended by that question. How do you want us to refer to you? If you're in a clinical situation,
right, right. I
so
mean, if you're
it's
an uncle, you probably just call them by
the name.
their name.
Yeah,
You just call them by their name.
exactly.
You don't have to, you don't have, right?
Yeah, then their family fills me in on what they're doing and what their activities are and what their hobbies are, if any, stuff like that.
Right. So no different from anybody else.
Right.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. All right. Do we then, so it is, we're at the beginning of the month. So
Mhm.
do we put anything on our webpage, or we really haven't taken any effort to really nail down um, calling particular attention to
Right.
every month seems to be, even
Have
though
something.
something may be more prominent, there may be 20 other things, 20 other diagnoses that people own that month. You know what I mean? That it's National Fill in the Blank Month.
Right. Right.
So
It's
it,
National Left-Handed Month.
from an accessibility standpoint, there are every month has numerous causes and diagnoses that call their own.
Yeah,
It's
but
true.
for instance, National Heart Disease Month maybe is not one that we would, I
Mhm.
think, or National Cancer Month, if there is one, I wonder if maybe what we can do as a committee, think about the ones that we're aware of that we might want to highlight. I raised it just because,
Mhm.
I know
Right.
that April is, um,
Sure.
and it made me think, well, I know October is National Employment for People with Disabilities Month. So, there are certain ones that maybe are more salient for us, more relevant for the work of the commission. And rather, if we do this sort of banner thing or highlighting thing on our page, maybe we have half a dozen through the year that we know are going to be ones that we want to highlight. Because I think
Mhm.
you're right, Roger. Every month has something awareness about something month. And some may be more tangential and just marginally related to what we're doing. And some things may be much more core. So,
Right.
maybe we can.
So we leave it alone for April.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
I just raised it because, in the notes we had it's Developmental Disabilities Awareness
Sure.
was
Okay.
March. So I'm like,
Right.
oh,
Right.
well, April is, so I think it's
Okay.
more thinking forward if we're going to do anything to highlight these as, on our webpage that, let's be thoughtful about which ones
Okay.
make the most sense to.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other new business items? All right. And our next meeting then is Tuesday, May 9th at 6:30. Before I accept the motion to adjourn, Alexis, I guess if you could send an email to the clerk's office to have them update our webpage. I think they would have already taken Rob off,
Okay,
but
that's
then
Cindy, right? Cindy,
no, it's clerks, and no, that's the
oh,
town
just,
administrator's
oh,
office. So
that's, okay,
clerks at the clerks at grafton-ma.gov.
yeah,
Yeah. So to the town clerk's office to please denote you as chair. And I think so. I think they'll bump you up to the highest slot on the totem pole.
Yeah, and it's not changed yet.
Okay.
I'm on the clerk's page right now.
Okay. All right. So that'll
okay,
get caught up. I don't know technically, even if someone resigns, whether the appointing authority has to accept that resignation for it to be official. But and that may be the reason why it's still on there, but Anyway, so if you could, Alexis,
Yeah.
do that. And
Okay.
also it may not hurt to CC the select board and the town administrator's office
Mhm.
so that they know that the contact for this committee would be you moving forward.
Yeah.
Before we
And
go
then-
into adjournment, I am not going to be able to make the May committee meeting. I'll be
Okay.
on vacation that week.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Just in terms of like getting access to the Zoom, they set out the Zoom link. Do I have to do anything to become host, or it's just gonna happen?
Okay, so I think we need to be mindful that, I think it was 7 of 12 we only really know, like either 6 months or 12 months. What happens is town administrator's office, I think it's Amber or Cindy, would
Mhm.
schedule so many Zoom meetings based on our usual schedule. But we need to individually, as hosts or chairs, know how far into that cycle we are, or else we could
Mhm.
potentially be out of Zoom links and posting something that doesn't exist. I think I recall that
That
when I
happened.
logged it happened in the past with us,
Hmm.
but I think tonight this may have been 7 of 12. So we really keep track of that on a month by month basis. And then depending on what the account we use, sometimes we'll use the select board account. Sometimes we'll use the Board of Health account. Sometimes we'll use the planning board Zoom account. So each time, I guess, we switch accounts, that may create a new cycle. And I think it gets refreshed each time we don't use that same account the
Okay,
following month.
Who manages that? I mean, is it
So,
Amber?
Amber and Cindy. So, so you could actually,
Just reach out to them and find out where we are in the cycle and,
yeah. So is it TA office at grafton-ma.gov? Does anyone recall?
could also pick up the phone, right?
I know, Bob, Dina, I know, but it's always good to send an
Yeah,
email.
yeah.
and
I'd just like to
input.
introduce myself and say, hey, I'm
I know.
gonna take over this role and I can, do you need me to send an email?
And the TA office, the number, the 839-5335 is the main
Mhm.
number, but the TA office is 1180 and the clerk's office is 1195 extension.
Okay.
All right. Well, Bob, I hope you have a great vacation.
I do too.
Awesome.
Hope it doesn't rain.
Where are you
Where
headed?
are you going?
Gotta go to Disney World.
Oh,
Oh, well, that's nice.
so you're gonna come back completely broke because they will get you spending money 18 ways to tomorrow.
It's all right.
It's a great place though.
They say
It's a-
glad to see you and hold their hand out.
Yeah. Good for
Yeah.
you.
Did anybody see Totality? Was anybody in Totality yesterday?
No.
No,
So I have
No.
friends in New Hampshire that we were invited to go to their house, which is like an hour and a half. They were planning on going an hour and a half north into Vermont, which they did. We decided at the last minute, there might be a lot of traffic. It took them 11 and a half hours to get back.
Wow.
11 and a half hours
oh, wow.
for a drive from their house in New Hampshire. That's usually an hour and a half. I'm
Yeah,
so-
I
Wow.
think in 2026, I'm gonna go to Spain. I'm gonna book a trip and
that
go to
looks
Spain.
good.
There you
Find
go.
a hotel that's right there.
Book it a year in advance.
Oh,
Oh yeah, no, I'm thinking about it.
Oh,
I'm thinking
yeah.
about booking Spain for 2026.
There you go. All right. All right. I will then entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Secondly,
All right. Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor by roll call. Bob Burger,
Aye.
Christy Proctor,
Aye.
Alexis Henry,
Aye.
Paula Turno,
Aye.
Trahan, I declare the motion carried unanimously 5-0. This meeting is adjourned at 7:36.